So this video, we're going to be talking about verb conjugation, and we're going to do it with two very important verbs in French, and we're going to talk about why it's necessary and how we do it for these two specific verbs. Now, conjugation is necessary in language. Those of us who grew up speaking the language might not necessarily understand what conjugation is. Conjugation is making the verb agree with the subject in a sentence. For example, you're not going to say in English, I to be tall. You're going to say, I am tall. That is verb conjugation. You're conjugating the verb to be. And it conjugated for I is am. Okay, so I am tall instead of I to be tall. When there are to be, that is called the infinitive of the verb. And the infinitive of the verb is the unconjugated form of the verb. So, the first of our two verbs today in this video is être. Okay, être is our to be verb. So être is the infinitive of this verb. Okay, and it is conjugated like this. Now this is a verb conjugation chart, which you'll see in any other videos in which I'm conjugating verbs. It'll be set up similarly. You've got your subject, je, tu, il, and elle, nous, vous, il, and elle plural. Okay, so it's conjugated like this. Être is je suis, tu es, il est, elle est, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils and elles sont. So ils sont and elles sont. So let's do an example using être in a sentence. So if we want to say I am tall, you would say je suis grand. Okay, this is grand for me because we use the masculine for me. All right, if we use feminine, we would make it different, but I'm going to tell agreement with adjectives is something I'm going to talk about in another video. So we're not going to worry about that part of it right now. We're just worrying about with je suis grand. And that's how we conjugate the verb être for je is je suis. All right, in French, you always have to have a subject in the sentence. You cannot start the sentence off just with the verb and just say suis grand. Okay, you just can't do that in French. You can't do it incorrectly. You always have to have verb, subject, and then your object, adjective, whatever. Okay, always. There's no exceptions. Well, there is an exception, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. Okay, so just look at it as though you always have to have a subject in the sentence. Okay. Our second verb that we're going to talk about in this video is the verb avoir. Avoir means to have. You also use avoir in talking about hunger. You use it in talking about your age. You use it in talking about whether you're cold or you're hot, or a bunch of different situations which will be shown in your vocab list when you go over that, where it's talking about conditions and things. I have that built in where you're using the verb avoir to show that you have different things. So let's go through our conjugation. Avoir is our infinitive, and it's conjugated like this. J'ai, which is J apostrophe A-I. Okay, so in French, when you have two words that are next to each other, a lot of times you have to, where they have two vowels, so as we remember, je spelled J-E, followed by the A-I. Okay, they have to be connected. You get rid of the E here, and you put an apostrophe, so it becomes J instead of je. You can't do that in French, so it's J. To a, il a, elle a, nous avons, vous avez, ils ont, and elles ont. I know the video is a little bit, I can see a little bit of a reflection on this one. This is spelled O-N-T, ont. And you have a liaison between this S and this S and this S and the vowel that's right there. It's called a liaison, so that's why it's vous avez. You make this Z sound that connects the S and the A, and the S and A here. Nous avons, and ils ont, and elles ont. Okay, you've got that liaison. So let's do an example where we want to say, you are 15 years old. You'd say, tu as 15 ans. Make our U a little bit bigger there. Okay, we conjugated avoir for tu, and it is tu as. So if you have anything on, say, I don't know, the grammar test for this unit, where it says conjugate avoir for tu, you would write ah. If you had être and it said conjugate être for nous, you would write down sommes. All right, so that's how your verb conjugation is going to work with these two verbs. Avoir especially has a little bit of it's used for some idiomatic phrases, things that don't mean necessarily what they say, but they're used in a different way in French. Okay, so like I said, avoir, it means to have, but it's an idiomatic expression you use for saying, like, I'm hot, I'm cold, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty. Those type of things. You do not use être, you use avoir instead. So, there's our être and avoir. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me before, during, or after class. You can make comments on the videos if you have something that you want to ask me a question. You can also email it to me. Maybe I'll put it in another video, something that I may have missed. But you're welcome to do that. You're also welcome to watch this video as many times as you'd like to get the pronunciation down and to hopefully understand the concept that I'm talking about. I will see you in class.